Yo, 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 it's your Barbie K in the building, and if you're watching this, it's because you're not a P. We gonna jump right into it. This is my dog, Xavier, and he is an Aries. Where you from, my brother?
So I'm not really from anywhere. Travel along the East Coast and Midwest, but I claim Wisconsin if I had to pick a place. So, you know, not a Packers fan. Just to let all y'all guys know.
Fair enough. How many brothers and sisters you got, man?
So in counting, let me get the fingers out. So I have 7 confirmed ones. I cannot say if there's more. Don't need to go into that. Some people are just, lucky, blessed, fortunate, and, good looks. Mainly my dad, and he's been a very successful gentleman. Or should I just say man, dog, whatever you want to refer to him as.
I really love that for you. I love what you did there, man. Okay, we're gonna jump right into the questions, man. When you think of the zodiac sign Aries, what comes to mind?
Ooh. There we go. We got some ambiance going on.
I love that,
okay,
man.
there we go.
Do.
So when I think of Aries, obviously, God of War. Not only for the game, but that's literally what it represents. God of War. When you think of God of War, you think of fire, fury, wrath, destruction, all of that kind of thing. So when I hear the word Aries, that's what I think of. Then I also think of the GOAT, because, well, that's kind of what we are, which is really weird, the greatest of all time. So, I'm not trying to ride my own boat or anything, but that's quite literally what we are. Not a goat, a ram, but same difference if you want to be, politically correct.
Great explanation, man. Great. This is a cool guy, by the way, y'all. He's hilarious. But okay,
I'm keeping it PG. You can't get to fool me because we got to be on the hub or the fans. I'm just joking.
Yo, you're nuts, man. Number 2, what do you think of the stereotype that Aries are violent, hostile, aggressive, etc.?
So I'm gonna agree to disagree. So there's always truth into everything, or at least a teeny bit, in my personal opinion. Violent, not necessarily, because I believe that's a trait anybody can have. Aggressive, I believe anybody can have that. But people take, Aries and what they perceive for the personality being direct, bold, very straightforward. People take that as aggression, and then it can lead towards, violence possibly. But as a whole, I don't think any of us are any of those things, to tell you the truth. Just because, one of us may speak our mind, be very straightforward and ongoing, doesn't mean, we're any of those things. Now, if you choose violence, of course, I'm going to react with it, because I'm a firm believer of fight fire with fire and eye for an eye, I'm not too much of a forgiving person, to tell you the truth, because everybody gets a chance, and that's when we first meet, and it's up to you if you want to, keep it in good graces or not. So there you go.
Okay. How would you say you handle conflict or misunderstandings?
So conflict, since I know my personality, I would say I'm a very direct person. I guess you can translate into aggressive, but I want to say aggressive because I'm not going to go out my way to bite anybody's throat. But when there's conflict, if I know the person isn't somebody I can talk to and be rational with, I tend to just step away from the situation, because I know it's going to escalate. I know when there's like an energy or personality that I can sync with, and we can actually properly communicate, compared to one that I can't. So when I know it's something I can't deal with, or for me, maybe this is a rational person, but I can be very stubborn. I'm going to be straight up real with you. If it's something, I'm not willing to budge on, I'll just walk away from the situation. Typically walking away defuse it. However, if the person do happen to approach me, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to walk away. But if you get to that third time and if they keep bothering me, then I might go off. But I don't think I will ever resort to violence unless, like I said earlier, fire with fire. So if they bring it to me, I'm going to bring it right back at times too. I always tell people, if you're going to hit me, make sure you knock me out, because it's going to get real. I don't fight to hurt people, if you get what I'm saying. Because, it's life or death, fight or flight. It is that serious with me, even if it's a small thing. So, that's all I'm saying.
I was just saying, there's that Aries coming out, man. No, jokey joke. All right, how would your friends, family, and co-workers describe you?
I should go to jail. That's a common phrase that I heard. Or how have you not been reported to the EO office? Because some of the things that come out my mouth, even I'm surprised by them. Like when I go back and reflect, I'm like, did I just say that? And I'm definitely a speaker before I think, but I do know the proper place and crowd. So if it's people I'm not comfortable with, of course I'm not going to say something that's going to raise eyes. Like, I like using the word Negro. It is not a, derogatory term. Just to let you know, it derives from, the word negro, which is black in Spanish, and then a couple of other language like Portuguese as well. But then, English settlers took it and, kind of changed it into a derogatory term, but not really, because it was just saying black. Now if you use a hard ER, that's a different conversation.
Absolutely.
But crazy, energetic, but I can also be on the opposite spectrum. If I'm not comfortable with people, you wouldn't know that I'm like introverted, because I like to actually analyze people. A lot of people don't even think this about me, but I am. I don't go out that much. I like to stick to myself. But when I do go out with people, they get to see the better side of me. And I wouldn't say there's a worse side, but it's still an aspect of me. But they see the other spectrum of emotion, which isn't typically viewed as positive. So I embrace both of them, and sometimes it does reflect around people, because I can be a negative Nancy. I like to say realist, because I'm not an idealist, I'm not an optimist. I like to stay grounded and live in the world that we're on, because why should I have my head in the clouds when I know I'm physically here on the ground, on earth, nowhere else? So crazy, well-rounded, I guess, because I'm a very logic-based person. And then I say fun, because people enjoy to be around me. But I will say you hate me or you love me. There is no in between.
Acquired taste type energy.
100%.
Okay. What does the word ambition bring to your mind?
Ambition. So I'm gonna be real with you. When I think of ambition, I think of greed. I don't know why, but that's the first thing that comes to mind when I say ambition. And I say greed because people who are ambitious are typically hungry. And when people are hungry, a lot of people just don't do it to satisfy their needs. They get greedy. Hence why I say greed instead of hunger. And I don't think it's a good or a bad thing, as everything in this world is all about perspective, because who's to say any of us are right and wrong, and we only do things based off the morale for a society that they have created. So when I hear the word ambitious, I think of greed. And y'all can take that however you want. Greed can be good or bad. It's what you do with it at the end of the day.
Okay. How do you manage your emotions or feelings?
So I used to, in my opinion, for myself, I used to do it in a very bad way. I used to keep everything pinned up, and I didn't think that was healthy for me. I would have my phases of, sadness, depression, if you would say. And I can be honest, it's something I still struggle with, because I just feel like I haven't found my avenue of healthily dealing with, when adversity comes my way. But I'm getting better, and so now I'm trying to, when I'm going through an emotion, I'll just go through it. If I'm upset, I'm gonna be like, I'm upset, I'm gonna be angry, but I'm just gonna let it ride out instead of put it on a face, saying I'm doing great and a smile. Because I think people who smile 24/7 are freaking weird. They scare me. They should go to jail, not me, because those are signs of a psychopath. But no, I'm starting to just go through my emotions and live them out day to day, because that's what helps me. When I'm upset, I'm going to be upset, but I know it's going to come like a wave and be cleared out the next day.
Okay. Love that. I love that. What does independence mean to you?
Independence. Oh, that's a tough one. Independence. What does independence for me mean? For me, I guess it's the ability to survive on my own and be free in my own way. That's what independence is. Now I know, being in like a country that has a democracy and laws, the term freedom can only go so far, because I just can't snatch this phone that he's holding right now and say that it's mine, because stealing is against law. Then I have to face the consequences of that, because he's a pretty big dude. He's strong, but not that strong, just to let y'all know. So don't be scared of this kid. But yeah, for me, independence is the ability for me to be free and support myself. That's what I defined as independence. And if we're looking at it at a broader spectrum, I guess I would apply it to the same thing. Your own personal freedom and the ability to survive and suffice for yourself. Now I think independence is freedom are two different things, because independence, you're free from something. I'm free from the person who I was previously, because I think I was a toxic person, to tell you the truth. Well, not a toxic person, but I enabled people to be toxic with me, and I didn't tell them, what my boundaries were, because I was a fucking, oh, excuse my language. I was a rug. I apologize for that. I was a rug. People used to step on me and wipe their feet on me all the time, and I was just okay with it, not saying that anybody have to be all rough and gruff, but you got to establish boundaries and let people know when things aren't okay. And I wasn't doing people the due diligence of telling them it wasn't okay. Because some people don't know, and they think if they do it, it's okay because nobody's responding to it. And I got to the point where I'm like, I had enough. I'm not okay. So, I broke away from the old Xavier to become the new. And, I'm happy with myself, but I'm still ever growing and trying to be better, because you can never stop learning. You really can't. And I even believe you can keep on learning when you pass on, because energy can't be destroyed or created. It just exists, and it just changes form.
I love that response. That was top tier, man. Top tier. What gives you zest for life, man?
Man, I'm gonna be real with you. It's simple. I like my basic things. So I am a carnal person when it comes to living in the physical world. I like my anime. I like my games. I like food. It's the small things that make me happy. The laughter of a baby. I just enjoy the small things that people may take for granted. Sometimes I enjoy just clean air quality, because I've been to places where you can taste the filth and you can see smog in the air. So I've come to appreciate all the small things. Like when I have a nice glass of cold water, I'm like, man, that was some crisp, clean water. I'm like, I do that white people stuff. Excuse me. I'd be like, because let's be real. You don't know any.
He didn't mean anything by that, people. He's a funny guy, man.
But I enjoy the small things in life. Jelly filled donut. Don't hate on me. I like those. So just small carnal things, and I look forward to what I can have now and in the near future, not in the long run. Like the partner that I have, I'm very happy with her. That's something that gives me zest. Family that I have back home, I know they love me. I can go back, reach out to them. I like the small things.
I get that, man. What are 3 principles in which you stand by?
So the first one is going to be trust. I think trust is really important. It's the foundation to any long-lasting relationship, because any relationship can be established. Talking to a random stranger, that's a relationship. So trust. Let's see, what else do I value? Communication, because I feel like they go hand in hand. If you trust somebody, it's a lot easier to communicate, but I feel like the trust makes the communication so more well and fluid, because I can trust some right now and I can communicate with them right now. But whereas if he was a stranger, that trust is non-existent, meaning that communication is going to be a little more difficult to have. And then transparency. And I know these things are real similar and they all go hand to hand together, but that's what I value the most, because I feel like everything else just falls into place when you have these 3. And when I say transparency, you got to be able to let me know when I'm doing wrong. Just be straightforward with me. Don't beat around the bush. If I'm doing wrong, tell me I'm doing wrong. If I'm doing good, tell me I'm doing good. And I'll do the same thing for you. So, I guess those are the 3 things that, I place a lot of value in.
Okay. Last question.
Yes, sir.
When you think of the word love, what comes to mind?
So we already had this conversation, but for me, love, I think of the word work, because I believe that's what love is. It's work. It takes a lot of it to make it long lasting. And there's different types of love. There really is. But for me, long lasting romantic love, I truly do view that as work. It takes a lot of work to be together with somebody for, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 35 years. That's all work. It takes 2 to want to make it to happen. Love just isn't this thing that's just be like, okay, we both have these feelings for each other. Everything's going to be okay. No, there got to be rules established, boundaries, compromises. There be good times, there be bad times, but that all goes back into that word work. So when I think of love, I think of work. And work always pays off. At the end of the day, you will be rewarded for the fruits of your labor, and that's what makes love love.
I like that, man. It's more of a realistic approach. It's like you understand that love is a beautiful thing, but you also understand the fact that sometimes you're not going to be happy all the time with each other. Sometimes you need your space. Sometimes that's why you say you need rules. Not necessarily rules, but you need boundaries.
Guidelines.
Yeah. Things that, hey man, this is something that's a deal breaker for me.
100%.
And I completely understand that, my man. That was beautiful, beautiful answer, man. Do you have any closing tips for anybody watching this video?
Yeah. So when it comes to love and relationship, be straightforward, be honest, and I know a lot of people don't like that approach because they get disgusted. Tell them what you're looking for, be like, hey, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. Don't go into something because some people do develop expectation. A lot of people actually have expectations. Be honest. Don't be like, oh, I just want to have a friends with benefit. If that's the kind of relationship you want to have, be honest with it. Some people are actually down for it. I'm going to be real with you.
Yeah.
There's all types of people in the world, so you never know what kind of response you're going to get unless you ask. But don't be dirty. Respect people's feelings. Be honest with it because, at the end of that day, the other person that you're taking advantage of, if that's what you're trying to do, they have feelings in the heart too. So, be honest, be straightforward, be transparent, and let them know what you want to get out of it. And, you'll get the response. It may not be the one you want, but, it'll be an honest one. I hope.
That was beautiful, man. That was my dog Xavier, the Aries, the feared, the dangerous. I'm kidding, the stereotype.
No,
right?
The dangerous is true.
Okay.
No, he's fronting on that one.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Well, hey, listen. Shabar became the building. I hope y'all love this. I'm going to let y'all know. If you watch this, again, you're not a peewee. Again, I thank my dog Xavier for taking time out of his night to sit here with me and do this interview. He does not come out often.
I don't.
He is a loner. You look up the term loner in the dictionary, you will see him looking just like this. With the whole outfit and everything. But yeah, I appreciate him. I appreciate you, brother.
No problem.
And y'all have a blessed day, man. I love y'all.